Oh, hello there. Listen, I have a plan. Yes, again. I want to build a diorama. And it's going to be a really whimsical fantasy cottage in the woods type of a scene. But there is one just a teeny tiny little problem. I've never built a diorama, not once in my life. Not even like a small one. Like, we are literally talking about zero experience, like blank canvas type of experience level. But don't you worry about that. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, so I am an expert now. And based on the very limited amount of knowledge I gathered, I went shopping to get some supplies because, you know, of course I needed another hobby, which I don't have any room to sustain. But yeah, you know, let's not worry about that. Of course, I got myself some basics like glue sticks, some moss, some grass, I guess, and just some other terrain materials, some chicken wire, popsicle sticks, all the good stuff. And I got myself some gypsum. I think it's also called like a plaster mix. So I got myself some plaster mix to make rocks and terrain. It was really cheap, so some thin foam. I'm planning to use this to make shingles and teeny tiny items. And all the stuff that I don't want to move right now, so some paints. I actually already had some paints, so I just got some extra shades. Paint brushes, knives, etc, etc. So this side of the table I kind of already owned before, so I didn't have to like go all in what comes to the wallets, but it was still a hit to the wallet, trust me. However, when I went to buy that nice little blue board that every single YouTuber is using for their dioramas, I kind of stumbled on a problem. Because you see, you can only buy like the entire 40 plate stack of it, which is like too many money. And I live in a teeny tiny apartment. I don't really need entire construction worth of isolation boards. I just needed one little board to make my base shape. So I had to take the bus to the other side of the town, and there was just this one specific board I was able to find that wasn't basically styrofoam, and that's the one. Is it going to be as good as the blue XPS foam? I have no idea, but we're about to find out. Okay guys, I think it is about time to start making a diorama. Before I start cutting into my expensive materials, I did make this simplistic sketch to kind of plan out where I want all of my elements to go. I try to keep it as basic as possible. Like I said, I have no skills in the crafts. I am a bit worried about the building. I'm not quite sure if or how I'm going to pull this off. The trees I'm very excited about though. I guess the best way to start out any project is to just start out. I'm not going to overthink anything. I am a bit nervous, like, can I actually pull this off? But let's see. I mean, if I'm not going to pull this off, hopefully you're going to see an entertaining fail. And if I do pull this off, you can see a magnificent end result. So only one way to find out. Keep watching the video. Okay, I've been working on this thing for a hot minute now. It's been basically just me throwing different techniques at it and just hoping something will stick and work. Then I kind of realized I shouldn't put so much effort on the foam itself, because I am going to cover it with texturing pastes and grout and like all sorts of like foliage. So this is where I'm at after basically 12 hours of foam carving and gluing, mostly gluing, because I did have to Frankenstein this thing together from different pieces. So I made some of these little gypsum rocks. I think what I'm going to do now is I will get them out from this mold, break them apart, glue them on this thing, and then I will just continue with covering everything with texture and paste to make sure I get rid of this weird texture that's on the foam. Let's continue. I seriously hope it's one of those trust the process moments. Because I can't deny no longer, this thing looks like a hot steaming pile of dog. I'm going to cover it up with a mixture of PVA glue and acrylic paints and some water, so it won't crumble like my hopes and dreams with this project. Let's build a house. I love how I recorded an entire monologue about my house and the microphone wasn't even on, so let's start all over again. I have a house. It's holding on by thoughts and prayers right now, but you know, it's just to kind of like see if the scale and design and everything works. I'm really itching to start gluing it together like right now, but I can't do it just yet because I do need to cut all the window and door holes, but I haven't done that because I haven't figured out how to do that. So for right now, I'm entering the most dangerous territory of Ketter's mind, which is overthinking territory, and I think I just need to like do it so I don't have enough time to overthink, and then later I will just figure out how to do it. Sounds like a plan, I guess. So let's do it. Let's take a small break now from the montage. I think for you it was minute and a half or so. For me it's been five whole days of figuring it out, and this is where we're at. I am really super happy how it's been turning out so far, even though it did break my brains like 700 times or so. But, I mean, it's starting to look like a diorama. The house is looking a right level of whimsy and everything, so yeah, I'm really happy with the progress. So let's do a little tour what I have been doing so far. Hi, this is Bethany, my house. She's still not quite done yet. Remember when I mentioned about the windows? Yeah, I still don't have a solution, but you know, that's after the next montage or so. By the end of it, I'll have a solution, I promise. This is Bob the Bridge, named after Bob Ross, because we only have happy accidents here. Actually, it's not really an accident, but I like didn't have a good solution for a bridge. So basically, I just took some cardboard and modeling clay and, you know, it's a walking bridge. It'll do. I'm going to take a little break from building things, and I'm actually going to focus on putting some color on it because I need a change from building things. It's probably not the best, you know, order of things for YouTube because, you know, you want to build the anticipation and all, but listen guys, I'm begging you. Please don't ditch me right here and watch it until the end because I need this painting it's for me. I need it emotionally because otherwise I'm never finishing this project. Okay? Deal? Deal. Thanks. Job is now set. Feast your eyes. considering it's my very first time attempting to paint on like 3D items, does it look a bit computer game-ish or like overly stylized? But I'm not too mad about it, honestly. Like, it's my very first attempt, so if I want hyper-realism, I'll just look out of the window, honestly. I'm happy with the more fantastical comic book kind of a look, so I shall continue with it. Before I do any like final touches, I will focus a bit on landscaping. So now I want to start laying down some mosses and make a couple of tree models, so this space will start looking a bit more alive. I'm super excited about this part. This is where you really start feeling when the diorama becomes like more like actual environments. Because so far it's more like, you know, piece of styrofoam. Anyways, let's continue. After 3 weeks of working on this project, I'm really excited to announce that the diorama is finally done! What a roller coaster of a journey this was. It had a lot of ups and a lot of exciting moments, but it definitely did not come with its own downs also. So let's do a recap before we jump into the final results to kind of like go through my experiences, what worked, what didn't work, and yeah, I think the biggest downside for me was the lack of having static grass or like the ability to make grass. I used flocking or like the tiny leaf material. I don't know what it's made out of, like sawdust or something. It looks okay from far away, but it was really hard to make it attach. Even though I used PVA glue, it's still kind of loose. I tried to seal it with super strong hairspray and everything, but it still has the tendency of crumbling off the surfaces. In my original design, I intended to make more tree figures, but once I started making them, I really quickly realized how much time it's taking, so I just limited down to only 2. I think it would have been more fun to have more trees, but I just, done is better than perfect. That has been the motto of this project from start to finish. I have a tendency of starting a project and never finishing it, so I really try to kill the perfectionist in my brain and just get it done, even if it's not looking perfect or like I don't know a good solution for something I'm going to make. I was just like, you know what, just just make it. Like, doesn't matter how it turns out. It's a fun project. It's meant to be like a good pastime activity. It's not meant to be something that causes me excessive amount of stress. And this brings us to the final boss of this project, which was making windows for my little house. I was sleeping on this for a long time. Like, should I put glass on the windows? Should I not put glass on the windows? And I ended up not putting glass on the windows. I actually like the ability of seeing through the building, and also I might try to add some LEDs in the future. And for LEDs, I would like to use a specific type of vinyl that would help to disperse the light in a way that it actually looks good in the end. I decided not to do LEDs for this project because there was so much new and so many new techniques I've never done before. I just didn't want to stress myself. I don't have good experience working with LEDs or like electronics and especially programming Arduinos. Maybe I'll do it in the future, but yeah. The door I made out of like modeling clay. I think it looks the best actually. It has this really whimsy and fantastical look to it. The biggest fail definitely is the river. You're going to notice that the river is definitely not dry yet. It still has the white undertone from PVA glue, but I just don't want to wait like additional 2 weeks for it to completely dry out to make the conclusion of this video. I didn't want to use epoxy. I used PVA just because I don't have a good opportunity to ventilate my space, and I have a cat, so I'm not looking to injure my cat with toxic chemicals without being able to work with epoxy safely. For me, it doesn't make much of a difference. I like it as it is, and the final placement of this diorama is going to be actually pretty high on the shelf, so the river is not going to be that noticeable in the end anyways. I like the fact that this outro is 12 minutes of footage. I'm going to stop rambling now and let's check out the final result.